Today we're going to be having a look at some of the creepiest areas in video games. While some of these come from horror games, most of them actually aren't, but still have locations that are terrifying because of their atmosphere, energy, and interactive nature. These are the locations that most players would much rather avoid than visit. Before we begin, there will be some spoilers ahead, so be aware of that. But without further ado, here are the 7 creepiest areas in video games. Number 1. Fallout 4 Dunwich Borers. Because Fallout is set in a post-apocalyptic world where ghouls and mutants run rampant, it's not that surprising that some of the areas are quite creepy, while this one in particular stands out to most players because of how scary it really is, and that is of course Dunwich Borers from Fallout 4. Now, Dunwich Building from Fallout 3 is also quite well known for being a terrifying location, but this area stood out to me more because it felt like a slightly more intriguing story. The area is centered around a quarry that has been converted into a raider camp. Once you enter the mine, you will be greeted by some more raiders and you'll also meet Bedlam, their leader who attempted to clear the mine of ghouls and ended up coming back a different person on the brink of insanity, making strange, incoherent journal entries like this one. After the sole survivor goes deep into the mine, it's easy to understand why this place would drive someone insane, as it is a dimly lit tunnel system that is packed to the brim with feral ghouls. On top of this, we see many flashbacks of former workers that pop up almost like jump scares, and we then have to fight the workers in their present day form. We learn more about the mine and its former workers as we pick up more holotapes and notes, and overall, the atmosphere, enemies, and history of the area makes this location a pretty terrifying one. This area was actually inspired by a H.P. Lovecraft short story, and the influences are easy to pick up on. Number 2. Fatal Frame, the Himuro Mansion. Fatal Frame is a popular survival horror game series that was released in Japan in 2001. Throughout the series, the main character travels through various creepy areas, but the most recurring type of area is abandoned Japanese mansions. Himuro Mansion is the setting for the first game in the series and makes for a great location where pretty much every strange and creepy thing you think would happen does happen, from spirits roaming the halls to the remains of dark rituals being left in the mansion. On top of this, you can only navigate through the area with a flashlight as every room is either dimly lit or pitch black. Now this is creepy enough, but it's also rumored that this mansion may be real and that it exists in a rocky region just beyond the city limits of Tokyo. The game developers have never revealed its location, but have marketed the game as being based on a true story. It is unclear as to whether or not this is true, but what is known is that the game is inspired by Japanese folklore and actual homicides that are similar to the ones that happen in this game. Number 3. Grand Theft Auto V House 1807. In Vinewood Hills in Grand Theft Auto V, there is a sign on a wall that reads 1807 with an arrow. If you follow this arrow and go to the first house on the left, there is a house where a party is going on in the backyard. What's strange is when your character interacts with these NPCs, they will sometimes just die without warning and the nearby partygoers will flee as if you have just killed them. People speculated that this was a glitch, but players reported that this was happening in the next-gen version, so this probably wasn't the case. There is a theory that this house is actually linked to the Manson murders, which were a series of murders committed by a cult who were led by Charles Manson. The number 1807 is said to be linked to the 18 women that lived in his apartment with him, a lot of whom went on to be a part of his cult, and 07 may be a reference to the 7 people that the cult killed under his instructions. The house is also said to be quite similar to Sharon Tate's house, an actress that the Manson family killed in 1969. This isn't that far-fetched of a theory when you see the houses side by side, and Rockstar have included similar Easter eggs to this in the past, so the theory may very well be true. Number 4. World of Warcraft Lower Karazhan. In the massive MMO World of Warcraft, there is an area known as the Tower of Karazhan, and behind this there is the Karazhan Crypt, which was a formerly inaccessible part of the map that was very creepy and mysterious. The crypt has many rooms that feel hollow and empty but have strange features. In one room you can hear a faint heartbeat in the background, and in another you'll find the Pit of Criminals, which is just a pile of human remains. However, what's most interesting is the area where the so-called upside-down sinners are kept, which is a series of bodies hanging from the roof of a pool. This became the most famous area of the crypt and became so well known by World of Warcraft fans that Blizzard patched it up and actually made it accessible in some of their additional content, so that the crypt can now be explored in all of its creepy glory. Number 5. Life is Strange: The Dark Room. Life is Strange is a game made by Don't Nod Entertainment that was released in 2015 to critical acclaim. While the plot has a reasonably dark storyline, it isn't that dark of a game until the later episodes where things begin to get more and more disturbing. In episode 4, the main characters, Max and Chloe, find the Dark Room, an area where multiple teenage girls in the small town where they are from had been brought to. It's evident that they had been drugged and photographed against their will, and when they find a picture of Rachel Amber, a girl who had recently went missing, we realize that she was probably killed in this room. At the end of episode 4, we discover who owns the Dark Room, and Max is brought into it to meet the same fate. This leads to a number of disturbing events as Max experiences the same things that the other girls went through, and when we wake up in the room, we have to go back in time to see these events happen firsthand. It's a creepy beginning to the last episode, and an even creepier location because of all of the dark events that happened there. Luckily, the person who created the room is brought to justice eventually, but unfortunately, some of the worst things that went on there are irreversible. Number 6. Silent Hill: Toluca Prison. Silent Hill is a video game series that's considered to be one of the greatest horror game franchises of all time, and for good reason. Since 1999, they have been terrifying players with their amazing characters, settings, and atmosphere. One area that stood out to players is Toluca Prison, a location in Silent Hill 2 that is so dimly lit you can only see things with the flashlight, which obviously doesn't help when dealing with the disturbing enemies that the game throws your way. What also doesn't help is the strange chanting and rumblings you hear from the prisoners as you pass by. The atmosphere is intense and eerily quiet at times, and the whole area is difficult enough to get through. You'll also meet some insane characters along the way and have some pretty strange cutscenes to watch while you're playing. This is definitely a standout location for the Silent Hill sequel, and it's clear that it scared quite a few players. Number 7 is Pokemon Lavender Town. Arguably one of the most well-known creepy areas in any video game, Lavender Town is a fictional village in the Pokemon Red and Blue games that has creeped people out for years. It is the home to a large Pokemon gravesite that contains hundreds of dead Pokemon and also features many characters who seem lost and scared. However, some of the other characters, such as the people you battle in some random encounters, are quite hostile and violent. The town does have a very creepy atmosphere, but what's even creepier is the urban legend that goes with it. A creepypasta was written about the disturbing background music that players hear when entering the town, and it claimed that over 100 Japanese children who heard an alternative version of this song were led to suicide because of the high-pitched frequencies that only they could hear. It was also stated that the music had side effects on those who heard it, such as nosebleeds and headaches. This turned out to be somewhat of an urban legend, and many people believed it to be true. However, no suicide has been directly linked to this song or level, so it's probably nothing more than a creepypasta. However, Lavender Town is still a very creepy area that disturbs players even to this day. And that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, don't forget to hit that like button. I make creepy lists every single Saturday, so if you want to subscribe for that, you can. My Twitter and Instagram are both DeBurk321. I'll leave those links in the description along with the sources, music, and footage used. But like I said, that's all for now. As always, until next time.